Hi, I'm Liron Cohen.
And I'm Mimi Torchin.
And you're listening to Lady Parts TV, the podcast.
Whee!
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
This is a very busy podcast. We have so much to tell you about. We really urge you to stay all the way to the end and take notes.
Take notes because there will be a test.
Well, not because you won't want to forget about anything that we have to tell you about.
Unbelievable. This is, what riches.
Yeah.
There are in movies and television shows. Here we thought we were going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel, and it's just... it's nonstop.
Yeah, and now that we're preparing to vote for our Women's Film Critics Circle Awards, and just reviewing the films that we had this year is like mind-blowing. Yeah. Especially for women. So that's excellent.
Especially for women. Well, we don't watch those movies that are male-heavy anyway, but there have been so many women-centric everythings.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, we tallied 15 primetime shows, out of which 10, 67% were written or co-written by a woman, and 53% were directed by a woman.
Fantastic.
So excellent week. Now we're going to start off by telling you very briefly about a movie that we actually have. I'm sorry, Lola is playing with my headphone cord. We actually
Lola's
have
our cat.
We have lots to
Not
tell.
our boarder.
We have lots to tell you about this movie, so much so that we're going to actually do a Lesbian Movie Club about it. Now, we could just review it, but we feel that there is so much that's important to talk about in the representation of the LGBTQ characters in this movie that we want you to first watch it so you can come to the film without worrying about spoilers. So you can come to the Lesbian Movie Club without having to worry about spoilers is what I meant. And the movie actually is available right now on Netflix. It's called I Care a Lot. And written and directed by Jay Blakeson and starring Rosamund Pike, Aisa Gonzalez, Diane Wiest, and Peter Dinklage. And I don't even know if I want to tell you what it's about.
It's fantastic is what I'm going to tell you about it.
Yeah, it's nothing you've ever seen before. It's
very quirky.
Just go like as you are. Don't read about it. Don't read reviews about it. Go because we really want you to experience it, and then you'll have a lot to think about afterwards, and then come and watch the Lesbian Movie Club, which we'll post either Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah. It's a black comedy.
Yeah.
And normally I'm not so drawn to those kinds of films, but oh my God.
And there's a lesbian relationship in its center.
This movie so much.
Yeah, even though it's not necessarily the simplest thing to love. When you watch it, you'll understand.
I always put aside a certain amount of my ethics and morality when I watch films about unethical people, but and so I loved it. I just loved it.
So I Care a Lot is available on Netflix. Go watch it, and then follow us, ladypartstv.com, and also on social media, so that when we post the new Lesbian Movie Club, you will be right there to watch it.
So I'm going to tell you about a show that's probably one of the best shows I've ever seen. Well, I'll just give you first of all, I'll just tell you all about it, and then I'll tell you all about it.
Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah.
Okay, now you know how it's going to go down.
It's a 5-episode miniseries available on HBO Max now. It was created by the great Russell T Davies, Queer as Folk, a very English scandal, Years and Years.
And it's called?
It's a Sin. And the only sin is if you don't watch it. It stars a bunch of people you probably don't know, but you will. Ollie Alexander. Lydia West, you would know if you watch Years and Years. She played one of the daughters.
And you will hear much more about her because she is wonderful.
She's so fantastic. And so is Ollie Alexander. So are they all.
Omari
Douglas, Callum Scott Howell, and
the P.L.'s de Leslie Stones.
Keely Hawes. Who gives us... She's very... throughout the whole movie until the end, really. Right. She's just somebody's mother.
But we looked at each other and said,
no.
You don't cast Keely Hawes just to be somebody's mother.
Right. And she does have sort of pièce de résistance performance, especially in the last episode. And it's set in 1981, which is just...
It starts in 1981, actually.
Yes,
it
that's true,
goes through a whole
it covers
decade.
10 years, right? And it starts just when there's a whisper of AIDS.
Mostly in New York.
In New York, right, of course.
And San Francisco, sorry.
But New York is what they talk about. And it's the families you make, these boys and one girl. They come out of, not the girl has a lovely home. And they all come out of very repressed places in Wales, the Isle of Wight, places where it's not easy to be gay. Which in England at that time were probably most places. And they come to London to make their fortune. They make a family. It's a gorgeous relationship that they all form. They all live in what they call the Pink Palace, which is the place that the lovely
Richie and Jill.
Jill
Jill's
is
not
home
gay.
to begin with. Yes,
Jill is not
we know,
gay.
We know very little about Jill's life. We meet her parents, who are very lovely. She comes from a mixed family, and then AIDS rears its ugly head. And first, it's a whisper. Then it's
a roar,
a conversation, then it's a horror show, and then it's a scream, going all the way through it, and how it affects the lives of these people. It's a very touching film. It's very sad.
I
keep calling it a show. It felt like a film to me. A very long film. I mean, if it's,
Well, we
5
also
hours.
watched the last 4
Right,
episodes
we
almost
watched
in a row.
We watched it in 2 days. Some of you will watch it in 1 day, I'm sure. It is just magnificent. And when I was talking online about it to a friend of mine, someone who follows, he was asking me for suggestions, and I suggested this. One of his followers from England said, "It's the best thing you will ever see in your life." And you know what? That might be true. It just might be true. It just rang so true to me. I remember losing friends. I remember the fear. I remember, it was a very horrible, dark period in our history.
And in some ways, people will also identify with it now because we see all the things that we're doing now. The gloves, the disinfectant.
So much. This unknown pandemic, the fear around it, not knowing what to do, how do you get it, how do you handle it. There's really a lot that you will identify with as now. But all I can say is the performances are out of this world. You will love these people. You will care for about what happens to them. Every word feels true, and it's also very funny. And
in that very British way.
It's Russell Davies is a genius. He really is.
It's also shocking at times. It has perfect timing. The way that they insert humor into the darkest places, and then they twist it, and then you're like, there was one moment when we both did that. I love, by the way that they describe this. This is a series that remembers the boys we lost and celebrates those lives that burn so brightly. And I find that they did that balance so well, which is the heartbreak of what was going on, and at the same time the beauty of their community, their love, their gayness. It was gorgeous.
I have a friend who has a picture in his apartment of 7 beautiful boys, men, but young men, with their arms around each other in Central Park, and he's the only one who lived through the AIDS epidemic.
They're so powerful. Those stories are so powerful. And just a little fun fact, which is beautiful.
Yes.
Russell T. Davies based Jill's character, who is the girl who loves this community. She loves these boys.
For them.
And before they, because they're in denial for a long time, and before they manage to confront it and acknowledge it, she does her research. She starts volunteering. She starts protesting, and she's the one who cares for all of them. And she's a beautiful person, and she's based on somebody in Russell T. Davies' actual life. And that woman plays Jill's mother in the show. So that gave me chills when I saw her.
So wonderful. And Russell Davies says that Ollie is sort of the character that represents him.
Right.
Their bright futures, their hopes, their dreams, and how AIDS just cut a swath through that bright and promising and beautiful community like the Grim Reaper.
Well, also because it played so much on the guilt and the shame and the, she says at some point in the show, Jill says, the perfect virus came to confirm everything you said about, being gay is a sin and there will be a punishment from God and all that. So it really...
She was speaking to a particular character.
It really played to all of those the baggage that those kids came to London to escape.
Exactly.
So,
and did for a
minute and a half.
For a minute and a half, exactly.
Anyway, this is a beautiful show. It will leave you...
it'll leave you limp.
Yes.
But
that is exactly how I felt.
Yes.
I didn't know what to do with myself. Well, how do I move on from this? I have to take a mental health day to now it's a sin. All 5 episodes are on HBO Max now. If you live in Britain, then it already aired. Well, hopefully.
Oh, yes, hopefully you've seen
if not, you can find it, I'm sure
somewhere.
Yes. Fantastic.
Absolutely. 5 thumbs up. I'm glad we don't have 5 thumbs.
Thank goodness.
It would mean that one of us had an extra thumb. But anyway, it's the greatest.
Well, now,
again,
this is an embarrassment of riches. This movie, which premieres on Hulu February 26th, which is next Thursday, also blew our minds. It's definitely one of the best films of the year, and I can say that without having seen any of the movies that are going to happen between now and December.
And I hadn't really heard anything about it. When we were going to sit down to watch it, the screener, I said, I have a vague memory of hearing about this, but...
No, I kind of, but it was, boy, what a surprise. It's called The United States versus Billie Holiday. It's directed by Lee Daniels, excellent pedigree, and written by Suzanne Laurie Parks, who's a Pulitzer Prize winner. She's just a playwright, right?
Yeah, she wrote Top Dog, something,
right,
Top Dog,
right.
Maybe, but anyway, she won a Pulitzer.
Starring... in her acting debut,
oh my God,
which is I don't think I've seen an acting debut this powerful since Funny Girl, honestly.
Exactly.
As Billie Holiday, this is Andra Day, who is usually in her day job is a singer-songwriter.
I never heard of her really, but she's magnificent. Oh my God!
First of all, the singing was spot on.
Spot on. We thought that Audra McDonald captured, and she really did, considering her voice.
When we saw her on Broadway.
Billie Holiday at the...
Lady Day. What is it called?
I can't remember exactly. Anyway, the Broadway show she did, because she had to change her voice. Andra,
Mm-hmm.
I think that she has a similar voice actually, but she really, everything I've ever heard Billie Holiday sing, she totally evoked. She was magnificent.
Oh, and her acting. I mean, she was so raw and exposed and vulnerable and powerful and fabulous. And just, I'm running out of superlatives.
Yeah, I can't wait till the next thing she does. But right now I'm still sort of wallowing in the soup of what she just did. I mean, it's so phenomenal.
Now, this is especially interesting because, there have been things about Billie Holiday, but this is something that we never knew about before, which is that you may be familiar with one of Billie Holiday's most famous songs, Strange Fruit, which was written about lynching and was very controversial. It was very powerful. And Billie Holiday was also, unfortunately, like many other people in show business, into drugs. And at some point, the federal government just targeted Billie Holiday with the excuse that they were cranking down on the war on drugs, but really because they wanted to shut her up.
Yes,
they
she
didn't
wouldn't
want
stop
her...
singing the song. They'd arrest her when she'd sing it, even if she was in the Copacabana or something.
They just didn't want her to...
stir up.
Exactly.
It stirred things up because it was about lynching.
Exactly.
And
so they targeted her and
made her life miserable.
And then, of course, also you see... just one after another, one punch after another with her relationship, her close relationships. She's just one of those tragic characters who you're so rooting for because she has such a life force. She has such a spark. She's so talented. She's so good. And she just keeps coming back up every time she's being knocked down until she just can't.
Can't anymore.
And it's a heart-wrenching, phenomenal movie. Quite an achievement for Lee Daniels.
Oh boy, he's so rock solid. He is really, really transcendent.
Because the
in
movie
this.
itself also was not just a straightforward movie. It was a very interestingly done, interestingly made movie.
Yes, commented on itself.
Yeah.
It did black and white things in black and white. It changed period.
Yeah,
not
it was
period, so much,
very
but it changed
interesting.
time frames.
Very interesting.
And also, you won't know too many people in it, but you will know Adrienne Lennox, Natasha Lyonne, who plays Tallulah Bankhead.
Right.
darling.
So also
Leslie Jordan.
Also worth mentioning that even though Billie Holiday really didn't hide the fact that she was a bisexual, history kind of tried to hide it for her.
Yeah.
And this movie actually does show it, not insanely, but it does show it. And Natasha Lyonne does play Tallulah,
Bankhead.
who had a romance affair with Billie Holiday.
It never really worked for me, Natasha Lyonne, in that role, but she did a very good job.
So, The United States versus Billie Holiday premieres on Hulu February 26th. You don't want to miss it.
Trust
stellar,
us.
stellar.
Yeah.
Now, a new show on HBO Max again. HBO Max is just making itself
cranking them
very
out,
hard to
boy.
resist. It's called Possessions, and it's actually an Israeli-French production created by Shachel Magen. I know, easy for me to say. I'm not even going to tell you really who it stars because most of you
won't know
probably, yes, you probably don't know them, but you will after this, and they're all excellent. Again. It's an interesting premise because it's when you watch it, you will not really know what genre you're watching. So this French family moves to Israel, or at least for a while, and
they've been there for a year, I think.
Right. One of their daughters falls in love with an Israeli man, and on the wedding night, the groom is murdered, and his bride
at the reception,
right, and his bride is being accused of his murder,
and you'll see why.
That's right, and the French consulate sends a diplomat, Karim, who is in Israel, a French diplomat, to be the attaché to the family as they're going through the legal process in Israel. It's very compelling. It's very well made. It's very well acted. The reason I said you won't know what kind of genre you're watching is because it does play on the mystical, fantastical,
kind of
realistic,
supernatural, realistic. You don't really know what
you
you're
don't really
watching.
know where it's going to go. But it's very compelling as you watch
Very
it.
compelling.
I mean, we watched the whole thing in 2 days at least?
Yeah, I think so.
At the most, I mean. And I'm not sure this was the ending we would have chosen. But we enjoyed the ride.
Yes.
And it had many layers, and I think that we still got a lot from it, even if the ending was not exactly where we wanted it to go. But it was just really, really good and unlike anything we've ever seen.
It's completely original.
Yeah.
Completely.
So Possessions is on HBO Max right now, and you should check it out.
Yeah. And now to a new series on network, which is amazing. CBS, Thursdays at 10 p.m., Clarice.
Very good, very good.
It was created by Jenny Lumet and Alex Gertzman, and I'll tell you about the actors in just a second. But what it is, it's a year after Silence of the Lamb, and it follows Clarice Starling. And where she is, what she's doing,
how she mentally survived,
what she went through, and it's very dark, but it's very good. And Rebecca Breeds, who plays Clarice, I think she's done some things, CW kind of things. I don't know. She's really amazing, and she so evokes
Jodie
Foster's Clarice, with still being her own self.
Yeah, but I can even hear her in the she's so good.
Her manner of sort of pushing herself forward when she's really shy, her bravery and her intelligence.
I think it's quite brave to step into those shoes, and I think she's doing a great job.
I loved her, and it also stars Michael Cudlitz, who you all will probably remember from Walking Dead if you're a Walking Dead person, and Jane Atkinson. The everywhere you look, Jane Atkinson she's playing the senator,
right? The mother of the last victim
who
survived.
who she saved, And
now it's very dark for a network show.
Well, honey, it's
no for a network
yes.
show, but it's still now. I should say we only watched the first one so far.
Yes,
but it's still, at least in that episode, it still managed to maintain the network formula, which is the case of the week at the end of the episode has to be resolved, even if it feels a little too neat and rapidly wrapped together.
I have a feeling there will be an underlying.
For sure, and actually we know that there's already an underlying, which is Jane Atkinson and her daughter,
and it will follow through with
for
that
sure.
thread
But they still have the case of the week,
exactly.
that formula, because it's still CBS.
Well, if you like Silence of the Lamb, even though we don't have, oh my God, the star, the actor,
Anthony Hopkins.
Thank you. Even though we don't have Anthony Hopkins and Hannibal Lecter, it carries over very much the themes and the edginess. I think that you will really enjoy this. If you like serial killers, if you like serial killers, Silence of the Lambs, you will like Clarice. I believe it. It's CBS Thursdays at 10 p.m.
Clarice.
Clarice.
There you go. Finally, we just have a heads up for you. It's going to be short because we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
but
we're going to watch it maybe today.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There's no
anyway, it's called Tell Me Your Secrets. 10 episodes available on Amazon Prime today.
Yeah, so for you, it's already there, all of it.
Created by Harriet Warner. It stars Amy Brenneman, Lily Rabe, and Hamish Linklater. And we really... it follows a trio of characters, each with a mysterious and...
Well, it's all about predators. So some of them have been victims of predators, some of them are predators, but in the relationships between them, the lines start to blur.
And Amy Brenneman's daughter has been...
Taken.
She's disappeared. And her whole life centers around finding her daughter.
Obviously.
Yes, and these characters come into her life. She sets things in motion, actually, that involves her with these people. And you won't. They say what it says in the notes is that pretty soon you won't know who's a good guy and who's a bad guy.
Right.
And I can see the potential for that. Certainly,
it looks very intense.
It's again so dark, and it takes. Lily Rabe's character has been given a new identity by
the witness protection.
Protection, and they've sent her to some swamp town in Louisiana. And I was telling Liron earlier that when I think of Louisiana and the way it's portrayed in movies,
right? Because I'm sure Louisiana has many beautiful.
There are in New Orleans. I love it, but even that's kind of creepy. There's something to me that always feels rotten at the core of Louisiana.
That's because of the swamps and the mangroves and what's creeping underneath
and the culture.
There.
Yeah, some of the culture, some of the voodoo culture, and but it always is a wonderful setting. I feel for any kind of mysterious story.
Yeah,
and I think this is going to be good.
Oh yeah, it's going to be very intense.
Yeah.
So this is called Tell Me Your Secrets, and it's available on all 10 episodes are available on Amazon Prime already.
Yes.
So make sure to check it out. And that's all from us today.
Well, that's that.
Well, that's that. Now make sure to both subscribe to our blog, ladypartstv.com, and follow us on social media because you don't want to miss our Lesbian Movie Club about I Care a Lot, which is going to come out either Saturday or Sunday. So you definitely want to go now, watch I Care a Lot, and then watch our Lesbian Movie Club, and then write and tell us what you thought about it.
What you thought about it. That would be very cool, yeah.
ladypartstv@gmail.com. We always love to hear from you. And now...
Depending on where you are, wherever you are, stay warm, stay safe.
Yeah, we're thinking about all of you out there.
We're thinking about Texas and the various places that are being under siege by the weather.
Yes, and if you are up for your vaccine, go get it.
Yeah, if you can.
Thank you. Well, I said if you're up for, if your turn is up.
If your turn is up, I thought you meant
if your turn is up for the vaccine, go get it, and we will see you again next week. Talk to you again. I always do this. Talk to you again next week. Thank you for joining us. Bye.